Have you ever thought about how it's been 1 week since you looked at me? Or, well, I guess it's been a couple days if you watch my shorts, but it has been 1 week since I put out my last video. So, hello everybody, this is That Manga Dude. Today we are talking about my reading log for November. So, I actually didn't read too much this month, or I guess last month. But what I did read was all quality. Quality. I read a lot of volume 1s. I was looking as I was pulling stuff out. I was like, wow, okay. I read a good chunk of volume 1s. So, but I tend to think those are the most interesting to review / give my opinions about, because it's usually how I feel like if I'm gonna read it again or gonna continue reading it. If I like that first volume, I tend to like most first volumes. So yeah, let's get started. Let's go. Okay, so the first volume of manga / comic that I read, so this one's actually a manga, but I just need to preface that because I do talk about comics in this video, so just get ready for that. But the first manga that I decided to read this month was Blue Box by Koji Miura. And if you haven't already checked it out, I did a full-on review for this for the FBI. And to give you my TLDR, if you didn't watch it, it's cool, it's fun, I enjoy it. It's not amazing, but it's not bad, so we'll definitely keep up with it and see where it goes. Up next, I decided to read a volume from my fiance's collection, and that is Yokohama Kadashi Kiko, the Deluxe Edition from Hitoshi Ashinano. Whew, that is a mouthful. This is the first volume, or omnibus, or whatever you want to call it. But wow, this was honestly amazing. I was not expecting it to be as good as it was. But basically, it tells a story about this character here, who is living basically in this apocalyptic Japan. And it's about her running this cafe and learning about people and learning about the world. It's kind of, I don't know. It's not anything super crazy in terms of like a complex plot, but I think how all the characters are written, how the art is beautiful, by the way. Has this wonderful sketchy style to it. Very loose. It's just a really good series. Honestly, you should definitely check this out. It's wonderful. And honestly, it was a pretty fast read. Even though for how big this volume is, I managed to finish this pretty fast. And I guess I could just tell you about how well and how good the writing is. So, yeah, wonderful read. If you like your slice of life stuff or you like apocalyptic stuff, I would say check this out. It's great. Up next, I read another volume 1. This is Candy and Cigarettes by Tomonori Inoue. So, this series was kind of a surprise for me. I wasn't really thinking about picking this up at first, but my boy Slime Prime decided to pick it up, and I think he was hyped for it, so I was like, alright, I'll give it a shot. And honestly, pretty enjoyable. Basically, what it's about this retired police officer, like older guy, and he's kind of down on his luck in terms of money, so he decides to get a part-time job as a cleaner, and whatever that means to him, well, he finds out very quickly that he is a crime scene cleaner, aka he cleans up after assassins and their jobs, where he meets this girl who is a young, like, I think she's supposed to be 12, maybe 14, she's really young anyways, but yeah, and she's like a super good assassin, so he's her partner as she goes assassinating, and he has to clean up for her. So, really weird premise, but honestly the execution's pretty good. I like the main characters a lot. They're really fun. I like their dynamic. Very classic, like, nothing kind of youngster, like at least in terms of the old man. And the girl is like, you need to grow up, old man. You're too slow. You need to hurry up. So it's just a very fun concept, and honestly very enjoyable. The art's pretty good as well. So, give it a shot if you like that kind of stuff. Up next, I got my fill of Burrito. This is volume 15, and yeah, I don't like the new character they introduced in this volume. Other than that, honestly, I'm still enjoying it, but yeah, I don't really like overpowered or unbelievably overpowered characters, if that makes sense. I know there's a lot of them in Shonen series. It's very common. It always happens, but this one specifically just seems a little too broken, and not my favorite. But honestly, still enjoyable. We'll continue reading it, of course. Up next, I got to read volume 5 of My Love Mix-Up. Took me forever to find this volume, but I'm happy I did because, wow, this series continues to be amazing, and I love it so much, and I'm really sad that it's going to be ending not too far from this volume, but we'll see what happens, because this is a great shoujo series. I love it. I enjoy it. I love the dynamics between each of the two relationships, one of them that's an actual relationship, and one of them that's currently like a friendship kind of thing, but overall, just really fun, really great. a lot of really well written characters, and a very serious, tense moment occurs in this volume. I won't say it's for the first time in the series, but definitely it's a part of homophobia, so it's very interesting to see that play out in terms of how the characters react and how I guess the reader or yourself is supposed to react to it. So yeah, loved it. Really excited for the next volume. Up next, my favorite volume to try and read because I can't pronounce it for save my life. This is Frieren. Frieren. Beyond Journey's End, Volume 6. So this is the continuing of like the wizard test or whatever you want to call it, the mage test. I forgot exactly what it's called. Oh, excuse me, the certification exam. But just more of that kind of like tournament kind of thing. I like it a lot. We get to see a lot more character growth with just about everybody that we met at the beginning of the test going into the second part. So really interesting to see like where characters and why characters are sort of trying to do certain things. So you get to see like who's doing it for like good reasons and who's doing it for like bad reasons or whatever you want to call it. But in general, the series continues to be amazing. Really happy I picked it up because I'm not usually a big fan of high fantasy, but this series has proven that I can actually enjoy high fantasy sometimes. So this is a really good one. Up next, this is one of my favorite releases in terms of design, but wow, this is Canis Dear Hatter by Zach. This is volume 1, and like I was saying, this is a beautiful release. Just look at this, unbelievable. It's really hard to tell. I'm trying not to bend it too much, but like it's just a really awesome like sleeve, whatever it's called, dust sleeve, dust cover, I don't know. I'm so bad. Please don't shoot me in the comments. But yeah, so basically the story is about this main character here. He creates hats, goes through like a really traumatic experience. I believe when he's like teaching, he basically becomes one of the biggest like designers in the world, and then decides to kind of lie low because he doesn't like the attention and he feels like he really has lost his creative drive. And then he meets this dude on the back here. Takes him under his wing, and they have like this interesting relationship with one another. And yeah, so it's about him finding his creative stride once again and trying to figure out himself, and this guy just trying to figure it out. That's the best way to put it. I definitely left out a lot of stuff just to keep out without any big spoilers, but yeah, this is a really good series, honestly, and I really like this release. Has beautiful white pages and like also stiff as a board, which is kind of fine, I guess. It's not my favorite in terms of reading it because I definitely had to like stretch more than usual, but honestly this was a good release and a good first volume. Really enjoyed it. Up next, oh my gosh, I read Lychee Light Club by Husamaru Furuya, and what the heck? Okay, I think the best way to put this is like, this is a huge like what the heck. I could say it much more profane, but like really honestly I don't truly know what actually I read while I was reading this. It's very provocative, it's very violent, it's very intense. A lot of just terrible things happen in this, and like I'm not sure if there's I would say there's a true reasoning for it, in my opinion, other than for shock factor. I don't know, people might disagree with me on that, but I do think a lot of the stuff that happens in this is just to be like, oh, that's crazy, oh my gosh, I didn't think he would ever do that, that's so nasty. So take that as you will. Will I be reading this again? It's not my favorite work by him for sure, but it was a enticing read, I guess is the best way to put it. Not necessarily bad, but I wouldn't say it's good either, so take that as you will. I'm trying not to spoil it too much, but and I really don't want to describe what happens because it's kind of nasty. So if you like Husamaru Furuya's work, or if you just like provocative work in general, I would say check this out. Up next, I picked up I did pick up, but I also read the third volume of Alice in Borderland by Haruo Aso. Continues to be amazing, and I'm really glad I'm reading this before the second season of the show comes out because this continues with a lot of stuff that happens within the show. I think the fourth volume is going to catch up to it, so really excited to go see where that's going. But yeah, this continues to be a really amazing like action thriller series. Very intense, very crazy. Basically it's kind of like a death game in a way. So if you like that kind of genre, this is something for you. Up next, I decided to read the one-shot My Broken Mariko by Waka Hirako. So this is a really interesting series. Basically, it's about this girl here who finds out her best friend has passed away. And it's about her trying to cope with the loss of her best friend, and just a variety of super heavy themes like suicide, depression, abuse, and it goes on and on. Basically, it's a very long list, but the art is remarkable. It's a beautiful series. It's a really fast read too. I wasn't expecting to be done with it so fast, but yeah, the art is great. The faces that every character, like the facial expressions, are amazing. The character drawings and art is really nice, and of course, this release by Yen Press, remarkable, good stuff. So yeah, this is a really good one shot. Just know that there's a lot of very dark themes that they tackle in this. So if you're not ready for that kind of stuff, I would say hold off. But if you are ready for a very intense, very thought-provoking read, I would say check this out. Okay, and then my first comic, I'm not going to say American because it's not American, I believe this is French. This is Cece's Journal. This is volume 1 by Joris oh gosh, I should have looked this up. Joris Chamblain, I don't know how to pronounce it, and Aurélie Neyret. No, I don't know how to say that. I'm not even going to try. Anyways, basically, this series, or this comic, is basically about the main character, Cece, and her journal. So, as you're reading it, it's very journal-like, where she's kind of like talking to you, giving you information about characters, what she's been going on with. But the art is gorgeous. It's like a beautiful watercolor-like style. If you like this kind of stuff, I'd say heavily check it out. It's not like a super intense story or anything. I think it's meant to be written for kids, but I still found a lot of enjoyment even as a 27-year-old adult. So, yeah, especially for the art alone. I mean, the art is super beautiful. I would say give it a shot if you like that kind of adventure series, adventure mystery. It's a good one. It's a good time. Alright, let's continue on. I decided to re-pick up Case Closed, and I read volumes 32 and 33 of Case Closed by Gosho Oyama. If you don't know what this series is, I'm actually genuinely surprised because this is a huge series. But Case Closed, also known as Detective Conan in Japan, is a very popular mystery series following the exploits of Conan Edogawa, also known as Jimmy Kudo. And yeah, he gets turned into a child by these evil people, so now he has to solve crimes as a boy instead of as a teenager. So yeah, it's fun. It's as enjoyable as I remember it being. The art is still really great. It's also still a very, very long and dense read because there's just a lot of reading to remember. And yeah, the mysteries still manage to be a little bit clever. So we can really appreciate that about a mystery series. Up next, I read the 4th volume of Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible by Nene Yukamori, and this series continues to get a little bit better every single time. It has a little bit slowed down a little bit for me, but I'm still enjoying it enough to pick up the next volume. I'm having a fun time with it. I don't think it's, standout-ish in my opinion, but it's still very fun, and I'm having a good time. So you can't stop me. I'm enjoying it. Up next, I decided to read the one-shot Boy Meets Maria by Peyo. And basically what the series is about this person who they meet is like this remarkable character, like remarkable dancer, and like everyone's like, oh, is that a girl? Is it a boy? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. And like they're basically kind of ignoring what the person has, their opinions on it, and everyone's just kind of judging them by what they see. And it's not a great look, but it's a very sobering take on high school coming of age, I guess is the best way to put it, and discovering more about yourself and about others, and learning to understand that you may not understand a person, but that doesn't mean you're allowed to be mean or judgmental to them. So it's thought-provoking. It does get very, very, very dark towards the end. Really wasn't expecting some of the very, very graphic scenes that occur, but wow. It was a lot, to say the least, but I think it was worth a read. It was, I won't say it was enjoyable, but it was good to read, I guess, for me at least. So it was, yeah, it was interesting, thought-provoking, good stuff. Up next, I decided to read the next 2 volumes of Silver Spoon, that is 11 and 12 by Hiromu Arakawa, and this series continues to be just absolutely amazing, and I love it so, so much, and I'm going to be very sad when I get to the last couple volumes. We're definitely getting there, but this was a great series. This is a great series. Super fun, very enjoyable. I love all the character dynamics, and I love where everything's going, especially with our main character, who's Hachiken, who's trying to make or creative business, and we can appreciate that about him. He's super cool, and super awesome. And there is that finally the relationship that's slowly but surely coming together, and we love it. We love to see it. Thank God. All right, up next, my big surprise. I actually picked another series from my fiance's collection, and that is Yotsuba. I read volumes 1 through 3. This series is by Kiyohiko Azuma, and it follows the story of Yotsuba, aka the girl that's on the front, and her antics around this new city that she has moved into. It's wacky, it's weird, it's super hilarious. I was not expecting it to be as funny as it was, but the comedic timing is done super well, and the comedy is hilarious and is a nice mix of like slapstick and like just like kind of dry humor and kind of everything, really. I mean, there's a little bit for everybody, but the characters are really well written and it's very enjoyable. Yotsuba is exactly what you'd expect out of like however old she's supposed to be. I think she's supposed to be 6, but absolutely wacky, just kind of crazy. Love her neighbors as well. Her neighbors are awesome. Everybody's just super cool. But Jumbo is my favorite character. Who is, where is he? There he is, my boy. Jumbo is my favorite character. But nah, this is a great comedy series. I wish I had started reading this earlier, but honestly, I'm glad that I did now because I can't wait to read more of it. Up next, read the first volume of Usatoki Rhetoric by Ritsuo Miyako, and yeah, this was a great series. This was an amazing first volume. I love this super much. Super much? Eesh. Quite a bit. There we go. That's the right language for it. But this is an awesome series. Basically, it follows this girl here on the front who has the ability to be able to tell when people are telling lies. So she's trying to find like a home. Everyone's always called her weird because she's always like kind of been awkward and like doesn't know how to explain her power to people. And people obviously don't believe her because they're like, oh, that can't be true. So she meets up with this detective guy, and he's also kind of down on his luck because he's something else, to say the least. But so they end up forming this unlikely alliance where she works with him in order to discover lies with people that he is interrogating or discussing with. So yeah, it's great. The art is beautiful, honestly, super enjoyable. And it's just a nice mix of like comedy and drama and like kind of mystery in a way. So super fun. I enjoyed it. I loved it. I can't wait to get the next volume. Alright, up next, I read another comic. This one is a, I would say manga-inspired series, or whatever you want to call it, but this is Yellow Stringer by Geoffrey Jean-Louis and Frederick L. Jones. And wow, this was a great series. This was a great introduction to Saturday comics. I was genuinely impressed by this. I mean, the art is awesome. It's really spooky at times. But overall, I just really like the character designs as well. It's just super fun. It's really well written. Basically, what the premise is about is like this hard-boiled cop ends up getting hired at this newspaper that is supposedly fake and is like just creating gossip and nothing about monsters and all these other stuff. But he comes to realize that all of their news articles are actually real as he goes on his first whatever you want to call it, foray or whatever, or like first time going out into the field. And it's super crazy, it's super intense, it's fun, it's enjoyable. I like the character dynamics between the two characters. They're super funny, they're super hilarious. Yeah, overall just a great first volume, and I can't wait to read the next one. This is awesome. Okay, the last one for this stack, this is Blue Period Volume 10 by Tsubasa Yamaguchi, and I say this every time, and I know you're probably getting tired of it, because you hear it like almost every single episode when a Blue Period volume shows up, but how can I not talk about it? This series is amazing. It continues to be amazing. Probably one of my favorite releases within the past, like, 3-4 years. It's just an absolutely remarkable series, and it just does everything super well. I mean, shoot, it does everything that I would expect a series like about this kind of stuff should be. I think like the art and how it's discussed is done extremely well. It feels exactly how I'd be when I was back in art history class, and it's just it's crazy. It's profound. It's smart. It's sad. It's like it gets you angry in some aspects. It gets you happy. It'll make you feel so many ranges of emotions, even between volumes. Like, I mean, like, it's so hard to encapsulate just how amazing this series is and how wonderful it is. I would say, honestly, just give it a shot. Just check it out. Even if you're not an art student, even if you're not even a person who's into the arts, you gotta give it a shot. It's great. It's wonderful. It'll make you think. It'll make you cry, laugh, and smile. Hopefully it will. But yeah, amazing stuff. Okay, into the final stack. Here we go. So, I read Volume 3 of Special A by Maki Minami. So, yeah, if you don't know about the series, I've talked about it before, but in case you haven't, it's basically like, imagine like Ouran High School Host Club, but instead of a host club, it's the top 7 students of the class become part of this club that's called, or part of this, whatever you want to call it, class, that is Special A. So, they basically get to do whatever they want because they're the 7 smartest kids in the entire, like, group? That's not it. Like age group, like whatever you want to call it. Yeah, top 7 in the class in general. So, most of them are like super rich or like have like a bunch of like crazy backgrounds. So it's just, if you like shoujo comedy, this series is super funny. It's very hilarious. It's goofy. And yeah, there's not much else to say, much more to say about it. It's exactly what you would expect. But yeah, fun time. I enjoy it. Can't wait to read the next volume. Alright, up next, I read the last 2 volumes of a series called Hikatsu, Strike a Blow to Vivify by Yu Yagami. So, I read the first volume of this series a very long time ago, and I had mixed feelings on it. I thought it was fine. Like, the art was cool, but, like, the series not necessarily interesting or anything. But I did pick up all 3 volumes in, like, one fell swoop, because I think I picked them up for $10 total. So nothing super crazy, but it's a fun one. I mean, after reading all of it, the art is still very fun and very cool. There are some moments that have not aged the best, but overall, it's fun. It's a good time. If you want a short series that's like kind of funny and just kind of bizarre, I'd say give it a shot. It's a fun one. All right, this was one of my most anticipating releases, actually, that I didn't even know came out until I saw it at Barnes & Noble, and that was Adam the Beginning by Volume 1 by Tezuka Masamiyuki and Tetsuro Kasahara. It's got a lot of people on it. Osamu Tezuka's not technically on it because obviously he's passed away, but it's based off of his story. So this is supposed to be like the precursor to Astro Boy. So follows like the doctor from Astro Boy and his friend / colleague, whatever you want to call him, and they're both like trying to create this like super smart robot. Here, it's this guy in the front, and it's just a super fun and very well written story. I love the sci-fi elements. The art is really awesome. Honestly, like, the art is really great. I will say my biggest complaint about it is less about the reading and more about the release itself. The paper is extremely thin, so please just be very careful when you're reading it because you may or may not tear the paper. I have not, but I am worried that might be a problem for others. So just keep that in mind, that the paper is very, very thin. But yeah, super awesome sci-fi series. The action is great. The posing and everything, like all of the backgrounds are awesome. It's just really well written. I love it a lot. It's great. Okay, up next, I read The Last Gender, Volume 1, When We Are Nameless by Rei Taki. I don't know why I said it the way I did. Definitely said it out of order. But this was very interesting. Not what I expected, honestly. I was expecting... Well, I actually don't even know what I was expecting. I guess I was expecting a series about gender and discussing gender and sexuality. And I got that, but I also got it in a much more in-your-face kind of way. It was a lot more sexual than I was expecting, honestly. I wasn't expecting it to be as sexual as it was. But, yeah, so it's an interesting premise. Basically, it's about this club called Bar California, or whatever you want to call it. I guess it's the bar. But Bar California, where you're allowed to come in and you can drink or whatever, and then if you decide you want to have sexual relations with anybody in the bar, you can take them to the back rooms and do your thing. They celebrate, like, sexuality, gender, and your kinks and all this stuff. It's, yeah, very interesting concept, and the execution I think is pretty good, but definitely not what I was expecting in terms of the cover, in terms of the name of the series. Yeah, it was a lot more aggressive and in your face than I was expecting. But honestly, it's still pretty interesting. I would give it a shot if you're ready for that. But just know this is definitely like an 18 plus series. Do not read this if you're a minor, because yeah, there's a lot of sex. That's basically what it is. There's just a lot of that. So yeah, that's all I can say about that. Up next, I read the next volume of Mashle, Magic and Muscles. This is volume 9. By Hajime Komoto, and it was good. It was very good. It was actually really good. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was, but once again, the action continued to be getting better and better. The comedy is still very funny. I think there was like one part that I was like dying laughing. He said something like yoink or something, like something that I would have never expected to see in like a manga translation. But here we are, and it was funny. So yeah, if you like that kind of stuff, great series. I love this stuff. Alright, up next, I decided to pick back up Soul Eater, so I read the next 2 volumes I have. This is volumes 9 and 10. And it continues to be amazing. That's basically all I can say about it. The series is awesome. If you haven't read it, you really should check it out. Even if you don't really like Atsushi Okubo, I think it is a very entertaining series, and I think it's very fun, just in general. I think the action is great, the writing is very good, the characters are very well fleshed out, and especially at this point of volume 9 and 10, and I know there's like 15 more volumes, so I can't wait to see where the characters grow in the next couple of volumes. Alright, up next, read Shadow's House, Volume 2 by Somato. And yeah, this series is like super interesting. I mean, if you don't know what this is about, basically it's about like these people who are like completely black. They're basically like made out of ash, and they have no face, they have no like anything. So they have to have these dolls act out for them like their emotions, their like conversations in a way. It's really weird. The concept is interesting, and the premise is bizarre, but the execution's amazing. The art is wonderful. It's beautiful. And the writing is good too. Definitely not what I was expecting. And it's like low-key very creepy at points, and I wasn't expecting that, and I'm really excited to see where they take those creepy factors later in the series. Alright, up next, we're back to a bunch of Volume 1s. This is Touring After the Apocalypse by Sakae Saito. This is Volume 1, as I said, and yeah, this is a new Yen Press release that I was not necessarily super interested in, but like, I had piqued my interest because it reminded me of Yokohama. Kind of the same premise in a way, where basically, well, sorta, not really, but basically, like, these 2 girls are traveling around Japan after a apocalyptic event has basically risen the sea levels across the world, and is basically slowly but surely drowning everything out. So it's about them as they travel around the apocalypse. It's very lighthearted. It's very fun. The action is still pretty good. And yeah, just kind of interesting to see how they build out the story from here. Excited to see what happens in the second volume, honestly. Alright, up next. Tokyo Aliens, Volume 1 by Naoe. Naoe? I think that's how you pronounce it. But basically, this series, what this is about, it's about this dude who... like, he has no idea what's going on. He enters this train and basically gets kidnapped in a way by these monsters, or aliens, or whatever you want to call them, that he didn't even know existed. So, as he comes to learn, like, there's a secret police force, basically, that goes and stops aliens from committing crimes, stuff like that. And, yeah, he meets this person who's a part of his class in school, and he's like, oh, shoot, you're, like, one of the best, whatever, like, people in the police force. So... they end up being like, hey, you seem like pretty good. Maybe you'll be good for this job. And then we learn a bunch of stuff about them, and it gets really interesting, gets really complicated very fast. But yeah, the action is fast-paced, the art is awesome, and it's fun. It's just really fun. So interested to see what the second volume is going to be like. It's a good one. Okay. Whew. Picked up and read Volume 1, or the only volume. What am I saying as if there's another volume? I'm tired, clearly. But this is Bat Kid by Inoue Kazuo. So this is a very interesting release because this is from Glacier Bay. And it is the oldest manga that I own, like, in terms of when it was originally published. For it was originally published in the good old days of 1947. Before I was born, before my parents were born, so it is a very long time ago. But overall, this was just a fun, kind of interesting read to see what, like, comic writing was like in the 40s, especially in Japan. It was fun. I liked it a lot. I think the art is fun and charming in a way. Like, and I really like the printing that's done in this as well with all the red and stuff. Yeah, it's just fun, and it's cool to see like all the historical aspects as well, because like this release has like a bunch of extra information and stuff like that, and a whole like essay about baseball and stuff and comics in Japan in the back. So yeah, cool release. I really liked it, and excited to pick up more Glacier Bay stuff because this was great. Okay, I also read Shonen Noit. Noit? Oh, I'm keeping that in. Shonen Note Boy Soprano, Volume 1 by Yuki Kamatani. So this was a remarkable read. I loved this. So basically what this is about is basically this kid, he can hit a soprano, and it's very surprising for a young boy, or not really that surprising, but for most boys, a soprano voice is extremely rare and really only stays around until they hit puberty, and that's usually when they enter their current, like, normal boy vocal range. So he's like a really amazing singer. Everyone is like, oh my gosh, he's such an amazing singer. He's a prodigy, blah, blah, blah. Keeps throwing all these expectations on him. So it's about him trying to grow up and understand and figure it all out, and tackling the themes of like expectations and stuff like that. So this is like just fun. It was great. It was beautiful. The art is gorgeous, like absolutely gorgeous. The story is wonderful. Definitely not what I was expecting from the person who wrote Our Dreams at Dusk, because that series was very sad. And this one, I guess, has like some sad notes. But honestly, I like where this is going. I think this was a great first volume, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. Okay, up next, I decided to read the one-shot by Arina Tanemura. This is Mistress of Fortune, which is a magical girl series, and it was okay. I'm going to be completely honest. Not my favorite. I thought it was fine, but I, like, of course, with any kind of one-shot, like, one of the biggest arguments could be, oh, well, it's too short. Well, I think in this instance, it's too short to a fault, in a way, because I feel like we don't get enough time to care about these characters. It's only, like, I want to say it was, like, only, like, 3 chapters, but I was just, like, it was fine. I enjoy Arina Tanemura's writing a lot. However, I just was not really sold on this one. I thought it was okay. I don't really care for the relationship between the two main characters too much. It's fine. It's whatever. I just think that she's done it better in her long-form series, which obviously makes a lot of sense. But I just want to tell you that, just so you know, not my favorite. It was fine. Okay, up next, I read Witch Hat Atelier, Volume 5, because I have to. It's like my sworn duty, my obligation to. And yeah, it just continues to be flippin' amazing. This is such a beautiful series, and it's so well written. The characters are so amazing. The art is so beautiful. Like, it continues to push stuff like in boundaries that I had never expected in manga, at least not in my generation. And well, I guess I could have expected that, but I don't know. I have low expectations of everything. But this art is just super amazing. The mystery continues to be interesting and keeps you gripped and keeps you in there. The thrill, such a thrill ride through every single volume, and it's like, and it's also just done so well. I mean, shoot. Kamome Shirahama is absolutely killing it. This series is super awesome, and I'm super excited to read the next one. And last but not least, the last volume I read in November of 2022 is In the Clear Moonlit Dusk by Mika Yamamori. So basically what the series is about our female lead. Looks a lot like a boy, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, she's so handsome, blah, blah, blah. Like, she's so beautiful, like, and whatever. And she's kind of like in this like area where she doesn't like being in the spotlight in a way. Everyone always says she looks handsome, she looks like a boy, blah, 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 but like no one has ever really said that she looks beautiful like a girl, until she meets this one boy, who's kind of like a bad boy, or whatever you want to call it. He's very popular in this, like, in the series and in the school that he's at, and tells her that she's beautiful for the first time, and she's like, whoa, taken kind of aback by this. So after all is said and done, they end up in a relationship. Spoiler alert, I guess. And at least at the end of this volume, and I was like, oh, got me right in the heart. It got me real good. I mean, this series is interesting. It's funny. The drama is interesting and fun. Yeah, I just loved it. I liked it quite a bit, honestly. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did, but I'm really happy that I read it, and I'm really excited to read the next volume because, yeah, this was great. This was a really good shoujo series. And that's going to be it for all of the manga that I read in November of 2022. Let me know what you guys read in the comments below. Bam, somewhere over there. And let me know if you read any of the stuff that I read in November 2022 and your opinions on it, because I'm genuinely interested to see what other people have to say about what I read, because I tend to read kind of like all over the place. I know a lot of people tend to focus, and that's totally cool. It's just not my style of reading, I guess. But overall, yeah, this was a really fun November. Really happy with everything that I read, too. I genuinely enjoyed just about everything except for maybe Mistress of Fortune, but honestly, 1 out of the 39 volumes that I read, it's not too bad. But overall, great time. Now, you know what to do. You can like, you can comment, and you can subscribe. I really appreciate when any of you guys do that, or anybody does that in general. You're all awesome. You're all beautiful. You're all handsome, whatever. Take whatever you want. Take what you need. Take an adjective, and then just throw it on you. Except for no negative adjectives. No negativity, per se, around here. No negativity towards the audience, I guess. Towards manga series, sure, you can do that. But for me, you guys are all awesome. You're all amazing. I really enjoy doing this kind of stuff. It's super fun. And if you decided to not to like, comment, and subscribe, I still love you very much. And really appreciate that you decided to watch however long it's been. I don't know, like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, somewhere around there. But if you managed to make it this far, thank you very much. Now, that's going to do it for this episode of the reading log. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!